Music is a form of art that is very close to my heart. I love collecting records and CDs, and more recently, I've been collecting soundtracks physically. One of the best aspects of Valve's games are their brilliant soundtracks. In games often led by silent protagonists, the soundtrack can create a complete and perfect atmosphere. Video game soundtracks on vinyl have been on an upward trend over the past decade. Companies like I Am 8-Bit, Fangamer, and Mondo have been releasing some legendary soundtracks on vinyl. So today, I thought I'd make a timeline of Valve's physical music releases. I'm mostly familiar with Portal and Half-Life, but I will try and cover the rest of their games to my best ability. The timeline will be covered game by game, with Valve's first game being Half-Life. So, that's our first stop. So, Half-Life 2 was first released in 2004, and it got two major soundtrack releases. The first edition was a CD, which came as a special edition pre-order. Specifically, when Half-Life 2 was up for pre-order on the Steam site, you could buy one of three editions. The bronze gave you Half-Life 2 and Counter-Strike Source. The silver edition gave you that plus a bunch of other Valve games. And at a whopping $90 price tag was the gold. The gold edition had everything plus a physical collector's set which was sent to you. This set included a hat, a game guide, a postcard, and a CD with the full soundtrack. This design is pretty minimalist, with just a silhouette of Gordon and some text. The disc came in a pretty simple paper slip too, but nonetheless, this soundtrack release is pretty cool. The second soundtrack CD came to us from a holiday version of Half-Life 2, which was released in Russia by Buka Entertainment. This pack included a few games besides Half-Life 2, and it also had the soundtrack for Half-Life 2. The track selection is identical, but uses a different design from the Gold Edition. As opposed to the silhouette, it just uses the original render of Gordon, both having pretty plain designs in my opinion. Besides Half-Life 2, Buka Entertainment also produced the Russian version of the Orange Box. In this collection, there was a poster and a CD soundtrack to Half-Life 2 Episode 2. The design is very similar to the other one in the Holiday Edition, though, of course, just saying Episode 2. A fun fact about this is that, despite saying Episode 2, a lot of these tracks are actually just from Episode 1, the ones highlighted here, which are quite nice to have. Now let's talk about the original Half-Life. The original Half-Life was released in 1998, and it's the most important Valve game ever made, and surprisingly, it doesn't have an official soundtrack release. I believe the reason for this is because basically every copy of Half-Life is a soundtrack CD. If you pop your Half-Life game disc into a CD player, and skip the first track of Garbage Data, you have the full soundtrack. Unfortunate as it is, it definitely makes sense. But, whilst researching for Half-Life on Discogs, which is a music database, I found that there's this record with complete Half-Life imagery. It's a trance record, and it has 4 remixes of the same song by an artist called Doug Laurent. The design itself is pretty great due to the fact it's basically just Half-Life imagery, besides this half me, half life design on the back. It links to both the record label SynSonic and Half-Life's official website in German, and claims to be properly licensed by Sierra. Now, at first I was ready to put this in the bootleg section at the back. I thought this was just some funny cash grab released around the time of Half-Life, like, go get your bag, I guess. But someone in the comments claimed it was real. They wrote that Sierra, the company who published everything to do with the first Half-Life, had their own German magazine for games they published called Best of Sierra. I went digging and I was able to find a scan of this magazine online, specifically Best of Sierra 6. In the back of the magazine, you were able to order merch items including Sierra-branded coasters and the Half-Life CD. The translation for this section writes it as 4 spacey trench tracks to dance to, for real Half-Life fans. So if you don't own this, you are a fake Half-Life fan, despite none of the tracks actually being from Half-Life. Now, there's also a 12-inch vinyl release of this, which doesn't appear in the magazine, but due to the CD version being licensed by Sierra, I'm using that as proof that it's real. Whilst these Synsonic releases are official through Sierra, none of them are endorsed by Valve or have the Valve logo anywhere, so I'm calling them dubiously canon, but I'm including them on the list because I think they're fun to mention. That ends side A of the discussion. Half-Life didn't really get many accessible Half-Life soundtracks, with most of them just being pre-order bonuses. But Portal got a lot more. So let's flip to the B-side.